So he's here with us.
Is he in already?
Yeah, Chime remains the actual aim, so you can talk. Sorry, just one.
Okay. Chimeremeze,
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah. I hope you are ready for today's inspection.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. May I know what you've learned in Think Cyber organization, and then what have you gained for the
All right.
past 6 months you have been there?
All right. Throughout the past 6 months that we've been having our internship training at Think Cyber Nigeria, we've gone through various modules, all relating to cybersecurity defense techniques. So, first off, we started with Intro to Cybersecurity. The module Intro to Cybersecurity. Here, we the talked about IP addresses, talked about network layer interface, we talked about OSI modules as well. We had our defense session, our first defense session with our company supervisor, which we were graded on as well. We also had our scenario defense, which is a lab test in which we take scenario questions and have to solve them within a specified or stipulated time frame. After which we um, moved on to Linux operating system. Here we broke down, or we were able to learn on Linux um, operating system. We used Kali Linux virtual machine for this. Here we talked about we used Bash scripting, about Linux fundamentals as well. We talked about searching using text manipulation techniques on Linux command line system. We did network services, permissions in Linux, bash scripts, and then translates using Kali Linux system. Then we had our defense session on that module as well. We then moved on to Python fundamentals. Here we talked about Python variables, basic functions, slicing and casting with Python. We talked about loops, for loops, while loops. We talked about input and output. We talked about functions in Python. Then we practice some Python codes using Python to develop code to inspect systems and to find out network configurations and extractions using Python. We had our Python as well, and then our project defense. Then we moved on to network research.
What did you
Yes, ma'am.
do at your project defense?
All right. So we've had in total five project defenses.
Okay.
The first one we had on was on Intro to Cyber. Here we did
Intro to Cyber?
Yes, Intro to Cyber. So here we had a project defense on Intro to Cyber. We had to break down all the modules that we had already done, and then we had a project work which we developed, which was the info extractor. We had to design a home network, a home network layer design. We had to also we had to also write down or describe each layer and the functions that they did. In Linux fundamentals, we had a project there as well. We used Linux and Bash scripting in making a code that was able to get out system information, get out network configurations, and find out if a system has been compromised, and find out log activity as well. Also,
Okay.
were able.
Can you,
Uh,
hello, sorry, let me just, hello, you don't have your laptop to demonstrate all what you've done. You should have had it ready, like a presentation to demonstrate and show all what you've done in real time so that it's not just a theoretical stuff. You are showing out what you've done. I think that would have been a better way. You don't have your laptop there with you?
No.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
okay, then thank you, sir. Chimeremeze,
Yes, ma'am.
What did you understand by end-to-end detection and mitigation of a multi-stage attack using a Linux log meter? I think this is one of your projects.
Yes, can you come again?
The end-to-end detection and mitigation of a multi-stage attack using Linux logs meter. What did you understand by that?
Okay, so the end-to-end detection using Linux log meter. What this means is that this process involves simulating and detecting a compromised Linux system like Metasploit table, which you have been using. So using logs on the meter payload, we can be able to illustrate how you can perform end-to-end detection from compromised system to identify Linux log files. So we use the Metasploit to exploit the vulnerable Linux system. We upload a meter payload to the system, and then that's through the attacker machine. And then on the victim machine, which is the Linux server, the victim receives the payload, and the attacker gains access through that payload using gains meter access through that payload. So first off, we have to create a payload. In order to create the payload, we use MSF Venom. Then we can create a stage or a stageless payload. And then we set the host, the port, which is the L host, and then the L port. The L host is the attacker IP address. The L port is the port that we'll be using. Then we now use -F to specify the file extension that we'll be using. After which, we then go onto MSF console in order to set up a listener. Once the payload has been uploaded to the victim machine, then the listener picks up on that port that we specified. Like I said, we could use port 444. And then once the listener is able to pick up on the payload, a session is then established, and we can now access the victim's system using the attacker system via meter.
Okay, then what value have you added to the company since you've been there?
All right. So since we started this training, we've been able to take on specified tasks. For example, we've had individual and group projects defenses that we've done, where individually we create or we work on a specific project which takes on a specified task. And together collectively as well, we've had group projects as well where we create lines of codes using either Python or Bash scripts that solves problems or detects vulnerabilities in systems or creates or uses firewalls in order to detect an attacker hacking into a vulnerable system.
All right. Thank you.
Right.
Director.
Okay.
Is Director there?
I'm here.
Oh, thank you, sir. I don't know if you have Chimeremeze any question. I'm done with Chimeremeze for now.
Okay, just to let you know how we access them. We have our own internal access, which at the end we share a report with you and the university. So I've shared some with you already. So
Right,
this is the first access. They've completed this. This is their oral defense. These are their grades in all the tracks. Now, this is their scenarios score. That's automated technology scenario score. Now, the three other defense that they'll be doing in the course of this month, it's a live project. So they will start, we just give them a 1 week break. So they will do professional penetration testing and submit live projects, 2 different penetration testing. They are supposed to come up with their own self-developed capstone tool that could add to penetration testing. And on the last Saturday of this month, we organize a mock interview for them, a standard industry mock interview, as if they are going for a job. So to test their capability and their grades will be shared. So all this will come back to you in a report.
Okay, sir.
We will share it with the school. So that's our standard of grading here. So for us, it's actually an all excellent class. This is the lowest. Now, this lowest is twice the highest in a previous unit. This score is twice, so that is an all excellent class. So they are very, very, they are very, very good. So it's an
Okay,
all
sir.
excellent class. So
Okay.
that's because we changed the technical approach and we did more of group work, class work, so that it could help. Initially, I think we had one or two people who were very weak, but as they started coming in for oral defense and the rest of them, they all picked up.
Okay. All right, sir. Oh, Chimereze, you can exit.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Just for me. Let me bring in the other guide. That should be Michael. Okay. Can you change your name to your from Zoom user to your real name?
Okay, I'll change that now. Done.
Okay, all right.
Hello,
That's fine.
Michael.
Hello, ma. Good morning, ma.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, ma.
You are Taiwo Michael.
Yes, ma'am.
Oluwas
Shinayo.
Shinayo.
Yes, ma'am.
It's all right. I want to know what you have learned in Think Cyber Organization.
Okay. So, firstly, I'll start with we have learned a lot of cybersecurity terms, and we've learned how to use a lot of cybersecurity tools. We've learned how to write some scripts. We've also learned how to write code in Python languages. We've learned how to use Kali Linux to conduct a penetration test. We've learned how to use different tools, to actually conduct a penetration testing. I've learned how to use online tools to aid our technical capabilities and ability in cybersecurity. The last few
Okay, if
months.
I ask, can you do that or particularize that to me on your system? Do you have your system with you?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma, sorry.
Is there anyone you can practicalize with me?
Yes, there's one I can practicalize. I can use Shodan to find open ports.
Okay, can you connect your system and do that?
Okay, let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Um, okay, let me I can load my Kali Linux for you instead. So that will be better. It's taking a minute to load.
Okay.
Okay, it has loaded now. Let me share my screen.
All right.
Can you see my screen, ma'am?
It's still loading on my side. Okay, I can see it now.
Okay, so I'm trying to get into the system.
So what are you trying to do?
I'm just trying to show a few of the things we have learned in the past few months. Just few things that we've learned. Just trying to show. So I'll be scanning my IP address to just find open ports on it and the detected services. So
And the what?
detected open ports, service detection, the service version running on this open ports. So if I can first get my IP address using ifconfig, then this is my IP address. So I'll scan my IP address using a tool that I've already installed on this terminal, which is Nmap. So I'll use Nmap. Then if I want to do for the 65,535 ports, I can just use -P. But if I want to do for a particular port, which won't take much of our time. I can just do maybe port 21, which is FTP, then service version, then my IP address. So if I run it, I started the scan. So it has given me the state of the port, and it's telling me the service version is FTP, as I said before. So that's part of what we actually learned in the past month.
So what do you use this for?
Okay, so as a penetration tester, if I'm trying to like detect the framework of the system, if I'm paid to like actually protect the framework of the system, you can actually check the ports that are open and running. Or if you actually want to hack and get backdoor access to a vulnerable system, we can scan and check the ports that are open. Through that open port, we can actually get access to the vulnerable system.
Okay. So one of the projects given to you was an end-to-end detection and mitigation of a multi-stage attack using a Linux logs meter. What can you say to that?
Huh?
Michael,
Yes, ma'am, I'm listening. You asked the
I
question.
said one of the
Okay.
projects given to you.
Yes, go on.
Is end-to-end detection
Okay,
and mitigation of multi-stage attack
okay.
using a Linux logs meter. Can you tell me what that means to you?
Okay, so that is just like we have a log file that is actually trying to check in every login attempt from different people. So actually detect one that is not following the particular format that you follow. And when we do that, it could actually give us the one that is not actually following the format that we follow, and we investigate it and actually get if any hacker or any attackers are trying to get a way into the system.
Hello, you developed a tool in your previous project, and
Yes,
that's
sir.
the project it's referring to. Can you give a full breakdown of what the tool does and what the
Okay. Should I do that while sharing my screen?
you can
You
if you
can.
want?
Okay. Let me just do that. Let me just. Okay. I saved it into a file, so I'm trying to get the name of the file so I can actually show you what it does.
All right.
Take this. Let me open my Gmail. I'll be able to find it from there. I'll find it from here. Okay.
Hello, we don't really have time. If you're not ready with the tool, you should have your tool ready. If you're not ready with the tool, explain. We don't have time to start you looking. You don't have your tools ready.
Okay. So let me explain. Let me explain it. So that particular tool we developed, we actually installed a Wireshark filter on it that can actually capture packets. You can capture packets and can also send signals to us if there's any suspicious activity detected. So we created a tool that can capture the packets moving from network to network, and we also created a tool that can notify us if there's actually any suspicious activity going on. Then it will give us a feedback, and sometimes it will save the packets captured into a particular file. So that's what the tool does.
All right, Michael. Director. All right, Michael, you can exit.
Okay, ma'am.
Sorry, I'm trying to
Director,
bring
sir.
in. Yeah, I'm here. I'm trying to bring in the next guy. He seems not to be
Okay,
in the
sir.
waiting room.
Oh,
Okay, he's here now.
okay. What is his name, sir?
Chidera, I Acho in the
Okay.
brother to that first guy.
Okay, sir. Chidera. Hello, Chidera.
Good,
Hello, Chidera.
good morning, Mark. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. How are you? Chidera, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I learned you have some group work and individual projects.
Okay. Yes, Mark, we do.
Choose one of your group projects and tell me what it's all about.
Demonstrate it. Choose one of the group projects that you've done that you presented. Demonstrate it on your laptop.
Okay. Um, okay, Mark, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so
And
this is
can you share your screen?
okay. I didn't realize that I wasn't sharing my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's loading now. Yeah, I
Okay,
can
this is
see
one
it.
of the um codes that me and my team had written for um network monitoring and basically scanning and like fixing errors. So firstly, as a team, we divided the project into phases. And in the first phase, which I took, was network monitoring and intrusion detection. So we created functions, right, in order to scan the network. Here, depth scan, we are able to scan the network for the network range and then print the network that we scanned and everything that we scanned and then input it into um a folder, right? And in this folder, we created logs. This log contains the number of active devices in there. And then we did log analysis and then threat hunting. So what we're trying to do is look for all these devices and then look for basically anyone that seems to be a threat. So we're trying to analyze the logs and look for basic like things like brute forcing attacks. So if somebody is trying to gain access like unauthorized access into your system, there would be certain things that the attack that would be seen um in the log file, right? So in this log file, you see things like, oh, so this user failed had a failed attempt or things like that, authentication failed. So that's what we're trying to grep. So we'd grep out these failed attempts, and that's what basically this whole phase is basically log analysis and threat hunting. The third phase is incident response and automated defense. So what we're trying to do is to block IPs with repeated failed login attempts. So if an IP has a failed login attempt, which is basically a specific device that is trying to gain access into your system, if you can see that it has more than two failed login attempts, it basically means that they're trying to attempt to gain access into your device automatic, like gain access to your device without proper authentication. So we're trying to do it that if this individual or this IP has more than three failed login attempts, then we'll automatically block them, right? So it's like somebody using your phone trying to get into your password, and then they try like three times, and then they automatically get blocked so that they won't gain access into your system. So that's what we're trying to do. That's what this phase was. So we created a function for it called block suspicious IPs, and then we used basically all of this is written in Python, right? So we said that if the person uses more than three attempts that were failed, then they get blocked automatically. So the fourth phase was security hardening and compliance report. So it basically generated a compliance report. So everything that we've observed, the number of IPs that we're trying to attack your system, the number of devices, the number of field authentication, we're trying to compile them and put them inside one file so that you can go back and then regenerate them. So basically, that's what the project was about. So that's one of the projects that we worked on.
All right. All right. Can you explain what automated threat response is?
Automated threat response is
Yeah.
in the field of cybersecurity, in the course of this learning in Think Cyber, we learned about Python. And the reason we did this is so that we can automate things. The reason for automation is to make work easier for us. So we don't want to be repeating things. That's basically what automation does. Automation basically means work that is supposed to be done over and over again. You just do it once and then create a file or a script for it. In this case, we use bash scripting or we use Python. So we create a script for it in order to make it more efficient in order to save time for us, right? Now, automated threat response is basically responding to threats by using an automatic script that you've created. So in order to identify threats, you are able to write codes and all of that. But the whole point of automation is to save time and be quick with it. So it's more accurate and more efficient. That's what automated threat response is.
It's all right. So what have you been able to contribute to the organization?
Sorry?
What have you been able to contribute to the organization?
We've worked on many projects and I've been able to contribute with the things I've learned. I've been able to contribute to the project creation and the development of most of these projects, and that's what we've been able to accomplish. At this point in our cybersecurity training, I've become a junior penetration tester, right? And in the projects that we've created, obviously there are more than one persons in each group, right? So all of us divide the works and then we create projects. So this is one of the projects that I've been able to contribute to the company.
Sorry, I just quickly went to use the toilet. Sorry.
Okay, sir. You're welcome. It's all right. Thank you, Michael.
Okay, let me just give a brief. Now, the stage in which they are, you can see that they are still struggling with proper, we call it soft skill, ability to communicate properly, technically, what they know. And we've noticed this in previous training during job. They are not still communicating, maybe because I'm an expert. They're not still communicating professionally to you, who is a non-technical person. You just want to see what you want to see, all these jargons, all this big grammar they are saying. It will not make sense to you. You just want to know what this now. If it was me presenting this, what I would have said, we develop a tool that can actually let end user understand when somebody is trying to attack their network. So when installed in your office, somebody is trying to attack your network, this particular tool display ABC showing that this particular IP is coming to attack our network. Now, this particular stuff prevents so and so people. This particular Wireshark actually shows us so and so that these are the attackers or intruders trying to affect our network. So that's communicating with a non-technical person. So those are the part of what they'll be learning from now until the end of the month. So ability to communicate with a technical audience and a non-technical audience. So that as you are going, oh, these guys have what can actually help us manage, see people who are trying to hack into our network, protect our cyber asset very well. So Those are the fine tunings we need to do. So from January till now, they are actually skilling up, understanding the technical capability to develop all that. But when it now comes to the aspect of soft skills, they learn that when they start deploying and reporting projects. So which they'll be rounding up this month.
It's all right, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Michael, you can exit for the next person to come in.
It's Chidera.
Yeah. Chidera, sorry.
One of them is not available yet. Let me bring in the other one.
Okay, sir.
Hello, Ayinde Taiwo. Are you there? Okay, he's here.
Morning, sir.
Hello?
So we have Ayinde Taiwo.
I can't hear you all, ma'am.
Ayinde Taiwo, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. You've been trained as a junior penetrator tester, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Ayinde Taiwo,
Yes, ma'am.
I said you have been trained as a junior penetration tester. What do you
Yes.
understand by a brute force attack?
A brute force attack. So basically, a brute force attack is a repetitive, unauthorized attempt to access a system without proper authority. Basically, trying to gain unauthorized access to a system multiple times. I'm using multiple combination of usernames and passwords.
All right. One of your projects that have been given to you, end-to-end detection and mitigation of a multi-stage attack using Linus log meter. What can you say about that?
So basically, the project was about developing an automated system that can detect, at the same time, mitigate attacks, stop the attack from happening again. So whenever it detects, maybe like you said, a brute force attack, okay, whenever it detects some sort of like a brute force attack, once it reaches the threshold, I told you that brute force attacks involve different.
So you can as well display your screen and explain it. Can you do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have your system with you there?
I have my PC right here.
So you can share your screen.
Can you share it?
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay. I'm coming.
All right, we're waiting.
Okay. So what I'm going to try to do here is that I'm going to gain access to this vulnerable machine right here. This is a machine, it's on, it's not logged in yet. So I'm going to gain access to it without actually having the password or the username from my own particular machine. So from here, I start by actually identifying what the IP address of the machine is.
Okay.
And use the slash on, so it doesn't reverse now. So what this command does, it's going to scan for every single system running on my network right now. So from what we can see that there's multiple devices connected to my network. Now, the most vulnerable one has multiple ports, open and filtered right here. And this is the IP address.
Okay.
So now, from here, I've gotten the IP address of the of the machine. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to actually gain access to the machine. So using MSF console, which is basically a console that gives me so many variations of tools that I can use to access a particular machine or a system. So the MSF console is loading up now.
So are you considering yourself as the hacker to this vulnerable machine?
Yes. Right now, I am the attacker, and the vulnerable machine is the victim.
All right.
So it's almost up. So before I proceed, you can see one of the ports open here is the FTP, which is VSFTPD service. So we're going to use that particular port to access the machine since it's open there. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to search for VSFTPD. Right here, we have VSFTPD backdoor. So from here, I'm going to use it. I'm going to check the options. So here, what they need is the IP address of this particular machine. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to copy the IP address. I'm going to set our hosts. Hold on, I'm going to check options.
You've pasted the IP address.
Yes, I pasted the IP address. And now the IP address is here. Before it wasn't, but now it's here.
All right.
So now, sorry. I'm going to run it. And from here, manage to find a shell. And now I can run Linux commands here to access whatever it is I want to access on this particular PC. I can actually even get some of the password, some of the username and password hashes, and then I can crack the password and get the actual password of the machine. From here, I'm going to, yes, I'm going to move it to Meet Operator. I'm going to say sessions, -1. So I'm upgrading it to Meet Operator. Now we have a Meet Operator session. And from here, as you can see, I have root privileges, meaning I can access files like the password files, the shadow file too. I can access different in-system apps that you only have.
What does the shadow file contain?
I can hear you, man.
What does the shadow file contain?
Shadow file contains username and password hashes.
Okay, all right, continue.
So should I stop here because I've already gained access to this?
No, there's no, don't just stop here. It's all right.
All right.
Yeah. So the last question I want to ask you here is, what do you understand by Linux operating system?
By what?
Linux operating system.
So basically, a Linux operating system is a free and open source operating system, which basically was released back in those days by Linus Torvalds in the year 1991. And it is widely used for everything from servers to supercomputers to phones, but mostly used by penetration testers and mainly cybersecurity professionals.
All right, thank you. And you can exit now.
I can hear you now.
Thank you. I said you can exit now.
Okay, now.
Yeah. What are you, Director? Director, sir?
I'm here. I'm trying to bring in somebody.
Oh. Okay, sir.
Okay, Bolu is here.
Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, Bolu.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm fine.
What do you understand by Python fundamental?
Python fundamentals. So Python fundamentals is one of the modules we took in this training, and it basically just put us through everything we need to understand in writing Python scripts that automate the process of penetration testing. So here we went through functions, use cases, and just different things, learning how variables work, learning how functions work, learning how to use if cases. We just basically learned the different aspects of Python and how we can combine each of those aspects to create automated scripts that help us to carry out penetration tests.
Okay, and you've been trained as a junior penetration tester, right?
Yes, that's right, man.
Okay, what do you understand as a brute force attack?
Okay, so a brute force attack is a forced, unauthorized attempt to gain entry into a victim's account or a victim's shell. So basically, you're trying to unauthorizedly force entrance into somebody's account by guessing passwords or trying different attempts to gain access into it.
All right. What do you understand as the automated threat response?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Automated threat response. What do you
Oh,
understand by
okay.
that?
Automated threat response is basically an automated way that's already been programmed through either a bash script or a Python script that follows up when it notices a threat that is happening in real time within a network. So people have come together and have written scripts of what it should do. So for instance, if a threat is currently happening and it notices an IP is trying to brute force entrance into an account, the automated threat response to that is to blacklist that IP and block it so it doesn't have access to continue trying. So that is one of the many examples of how automated threat response could work.
All right. Are you with your system?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I learned you've learned some of the projects with you, and you've learned about group group project and individual project. Just choose one of your group projects and then explain what you understand by that package.
Okay. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so taking you to one of the group projects that we did. And the group project that we did was similar to what you just asked. It was a automated threat response as well. Let me show you the source code.
Okay.
It's okay. So as you can see, this is network monitoring and intrusion detection. So this is an automated script that basically scans the network for active devices. And upon that, once it gathers everything that is open upon the network, it measures it and sees possible modes of entry. But what we did was for this that made it much more significant was we decided to do a password strength checker. So here we created a script that basically checks users' inputs, and if their password that they input isn't strong enough, we suggest that they input something that can be much bigger, because we identified a major problem in the cybersecurity space is how a lot of people or people around the world repeat passwords for different things. So a way we could bridge the gap by that was we created a script that checks password strength and basically gives an idea of things that can strengthen your password by telling you, okay, your password isn't long enough. Your password needs more special characters. And upon everything that we did as well we created a script that also puts everything in a log analysis. So everything that is going on in the network, all these results that we are gathering from our scans, everything is going into a particular log file. So whoever the penetration tester, whoever is viewing this, has a log file that he can go to check everything that is going on. And we also did incident response and automated defense as well. So once again, this right here blocks a particular IP or blacklists a particular IP that has tried to gain entry more than 3 times. We set a limit to it. So once we see that your login attempts is more than 3 times for this particular IP, we're going to block it off immediately so you don't have access to continue trying to brute force your way into it.
All right. What have you in person added to the same Think Cyber organization?
Added to the Think Cyber organization, I think I've learned how to be a very good junior penetration tester by knowing a lot of tools that can help me to carry out tasks that day-to-day penetration testers carry out, such as scanning networks, exploiting possible vulnerabilities that are found on a network, checking the services open, trying to gain a session and potentially become root or gain root access into a particular victim.
So in the next 2-3 years, with what you've learned,
yeah,
do you think you can work in this area?
Do I think I can work where?
in this area of
Yeah.
cybersecurity?
Yes. In the next 2, 3 years, I see myself being a mid-level penetration tester for a company. Yes.
It's all right. Thank you.
So,
You can edit.
Okay. We
Right.
have. Sorry.
Can I leave?
Yeah, you can
Yes.
exit.
Okay.
Somebody is joining in. No.
All right.
Our doing Elijah is joining in.
Okay, sir.
So we have a Sunday here.
Okay.
We have
Good morning.
good morning. Are you doing?
No, it's Okoye Sunday. So I would doing Elijah will be the last. Okoye Sunday.
Okay. Okay, Sunday. How are you?
Fine.
Yeah. What is an operating system?
It's a software that allows yeah, a software that allows applications to communicate to the hardware easily and efficiently.
All right. Then what is can you just mention some Python fundamentals?
So might not get you.
She said you should mention some Python fundamental knowledge you have.
Okay. So we learned how to be using Python for scripting in Linux. So basic things like variables in Python, we have lists, we have dictionaries. We can perform some simple operations with Python, like arithmetic operations, addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and so on.
All right. Please, can you mention the tools used to mitigate brute force attack?
Tools to mitigate brute force attack. We have strong security. We have fail safe, like amount of time someone gets a wrong password before disconnecting, like 3 times, and so on.
You have group projects, likewise individual projects that has been given to you.
Group projects. Yes, ma'am, we have had group projects.
And the personal ones too.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have your laptop with you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
choose one of the group projects that you've done in the past and share your screen with us so that we can know what you've learned there.
Okay.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, I'm not hearing you, but I can hear you. Okay.
Okay, Ma, so we have this project that we did on GitHub.
On what?
This project helps on network scanning, vulnerability scanning, scans for open ports. Here it scans for log and system files for password leaks. It can also block suspicious IP addresses. Then it finally generates a compliance report.
Generate what?
It
What is the
generates
last thing?
generates a security compliance report.
Okay, so that's compliance report. What does it do for your customers? Or how does it work for your customers?
So it shows the result of all the previous tasks I've mentioned. So it shows the previous tasks, and it can help to identify problems in a system, in a customer system. So it can help to do that and remediate it.
Okay. Can you explain what automated threat response is?
Man, the network, I did not get
Okay,
your question.
automated detection and response platform. Can you explain how that particular tool works? It's one of the projects you develop, automated detection and response project.
So it's like a detection system put in place, has no human intervention. So when it detects a threat, it uses response or mitigation techniques that have already been put in place without any human intervention to take care of the threats. So everything is automated.
All right. It's all right. You can exit.
All
Okay,
right,
thank
that's
you.
fine. So I'm bringing in our doing Elijah. He's the last person.
All right, sir.
Okay, I think he's here.
All right, sir. Thank you. Lisa, what did you say his name?
Awodonye Elijah, are you here? Your cameras are off.
Yes, sir.
Why is the camera?
Awodonye,
Why are we not seeing your face?
we are not seeing your face.
Okay, it's up now.
All right, sir. Thank you. Awodonye,
Yes, ma'am.
what is a brute force attack?
Okay, brute force attack is one in which an attacker tries to exploit the victim. We use several measures to try to infiltrate into the system of the victim. That's what a brute force attack is. And we use several methods to perform such attacks. Such attacks might give us information like the user ID, might give us access to the user system, and more information like that.
Okay, so you've been trained as a junior penetration tester, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What are the tools that you use to in order to mitigate brute force attack? What are the tools that is used to mitigate that?
Okay, the tools for brute force attack. That's the question, ma'am.
Tools. The question was, what are the ways you could mitigate a brute force attack? That was the question.
Okay, we use tools like Hydra, like John the Ripper, we use Ashcards. Yes, such tools we use for brute force attack.
The question was, how do you mitigate? What are tools you use to mitigate brute force attack? Not how you actually implement brute force attack. Maybe you didn't hear the question well.
Oh, okay, tools to mitigate it. Okay, so you can use the firewall. The firewall is the first line of attack, of defense when an attack is implemented. Also, we could use an antivirus. It also performs as a very good firewall, as a defense strategy to mitigate attack.
All right. What are network monitoring and then intrusion detection?
Shema, could you come again?
What is network monitoring and intrusion detection? What can you say about that?
Network monitoring and intrusion detection. What can you say about that?
Okay. Network monitoring is, we use tools like Wireshark to like see all the ports being used on the network. So Wireshark gives us an idea of, it tells us the ports, it tells us what happens on the network. So it's just like reading the whole network information, telling us what's going on, who is using this, and what activities are going on in the network.
Okay. The projects given to you, I think group projects, I think you've done that there. It's titled End-to-End Detection and Mitigation of a Multi-Stage Attack Using Linux Log Meter Apps. Can you explain that? Maybe, if possible, you can share your screen and then
demonstrate.
Explain to us.
Okay.
Do you understand the question?
Yes, ma'am. I should go through the project.
Yes.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, ma, can you see my screen?
I can see it.
Okay, ma. Okay, so this is one of the projects we have. I will show you two, but this is the first one. So first of all, this is for automating the remote scanner with anonymity verification. So this, first of all, we impute the remote user, the remote password, and the IP address. Then we now install all the needed application. Okay, so then we install all the needed applications. Then this particular command gives us the ability to install it. It says for app in SSH file. So search for all these apps. If it is not there, then install it. Then the next one, we're checking anonymity using existing NIP. So it says checking network anonymity, then this particular directory is where the NIP is. So it restarts it. Then it now checks for anonymity. So if the status is equals to status, anonymity check failed. Else, connected anonymously, and it changes the country. Another command function here, it says get the address to scan. So you enter your address, then it now starts gathering server information. Then it says SSH remote password. So you use this tool to check for that remote password that you've imputed, and it gives you the ability to look for your country, your IP address, and your uptime. The next one, we're using this remote server to check who is. Who is gives us information about the particular system. So it says performing who is lookup via remote server. Then it uses SSH pass to perform the who is check for information. So it also scans for open ports. So it says performing nmap scan via remote server. So SSH pass using your password, it now gets nmap in order to get your address. So also it now saves all information that it has got into an audit log. It says audit log, then the date, then target address, then the IP, then the spoofed country. Then it now tells you where who is information and nmap with some information is saved into. Then right here, we now call the main function. So we have another project here. It's called privilege escalation detection, which simply means anybody that wants to go ahead of their privilege, anybody that wants to use an escalated privilege like a root user. Normally we have a base user, but anybody that wants to escalate their privilege into a higher one, which is like root admin, the highest privilege. Then it now says the checks, setting up audit rule for privilege escalation monitoring. Is monitoring the whole system for whosoever tries to escalate their normal privilege, whosoever wants to become root and have root abilities throughout the system. It now says search in this particular place for privilege escalation, any word that has privilege escalation, then grab the summary of it. Then this gives us an idea. It's now callback every time somebody has tried to escalate their privilege. Also, we're doing MITRE attack mapping. So for brute forcing, it says brute force detection begins. So it says grep failed password. So all the time people have tried to log into the system and it shows failed password. That's the brute force attack. When you try to enter the system and you, without correct logins, it now flags it as a failed password in the log file. So this now goes and look for the particular keyword, which is failed password in the log file, and it prints it out. Then the next one is also for privilege escalation. It searches in the system for any keyword, which is privilege escalation, then it grabs it. While scheduled task persistence, this grabs in a particular log for any time people have tried to use some certain privileges. Also, so we have data exfiltration. It says HTTP exploration attempt. So this uses T-Shack, which is a tool for monitoring network. It uses T-Shack to now see all the time people have tried to exfiltrate the system using such services like HTTP and FTP. So here, we now call it, just like we did in the last one, we call the main file. We say Linux threat detection and MITRE mapping. Then it now calls all the functions that we already laid out right at the top right here. So then it calls the MITRE attack also, and that completes it. Then after everything, it now says script completed, logs maps, and privilege escalation monitored. So when it has carried out all these functions, it now give you all the times people have tried to escalate their privilege.
All right. The privilege escalation.
Yes, ma'am.
Who are those involved? Who are those that are given this privilege?
Okay, normally the user has absolute privilege of the system, but as an attacker, as an intruder, when you want to enter, you want to have that privilege so you can go through all the hidden files, like all the password files in the etc folder. So normally the victim has the privilege, but I want to access it so that I can go through all the hidden files, all the important files that contain all the important information of them, all their passwords, all their details. So I want the privilege. So they have it, but I want it. So this now monitors anytime an attacker wants that escalated privilege that he does not normally have.
All right. All right. So it's the attacker that wants to escalate their privileges.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
In order to carry out attack.
you are not addressing the question very well. Now, when they say privilege escalation, is simply you are moving from an ordinary user to a root user. So you should actually state that as the owner of your system, you have both root user privilege and normal user. An intruder starts from what? A normal user, and he wants to actually escalate his privilege to what? A root user. That's actually why there is a privilege escalation. Learn to communicate properly when questions are asked.
Yes.
Madam, you can pick it up from here.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. There is one more question for you before you will leave. What do you understand by operating system? An operating system.
Okay, an operating system.
Yes,
so my network,
what is an operating?
Okay, an operating system.
Yeah.
I think the network.
Sorry. Okay, an operating system. I got the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's an operating system? That was the question.
Okay, it's a set of programs in a computer system that manages hardware resources and provides services to software application programs also. So it does software processes and hardware processes. So you bring both of them together in order to support a computer's basic function.
All right. Thank you.
Okay,
Yes,
all right. So, madam, that's all we have this year from Babcock University. You can exit the. That's all we have this year from Babcock University. There are just only 7.
Yeah.
Unlike last year, there were 33. So we are hoping that the next one will have more numbers.
Okay, you had 23.
33 last year.
Wow. Okay.
I did 31. I did 31. Okay, 33. They were 33 last year.
Wow. Okay, I will report back to school about
that. From here, we actually we send in a detailed report to you, then copy Mrs. Fatade, then maybe they can now escalate that detailed report on what our assessment are about them and why we should actually be a top A choice when you are actually recommending industrial training to students in Babcock. They are all certified. So they just need to be fine-tuned already now into the industry. So we bring, like you're asking them interview questions, we are bringing industry people to come and actually do a proper interview for them on the last week of this month. Then they'll be integrated into the Cybersecurity Expert Association of Nigeria.
Wow.
They'll be integrated into that particular session this month or next month. So that gives them a good profile to start their career immediately they finish school. From the last set, we had this guy. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
So he's part of those who have just finished from Babcock. So he was their best graduating student. He's currently working.
With you?
For this. No, not with us. They can't work with us. We are a high-level consultancy people, so we normally direct them to operation.
All right.
So this is the guy. He did his IT. Part of the 33 people. He just graduated. They are yet to do their convocation. As you can see, these are all our certifications. So They are already working. Now, we are not into operation. We are not into operation. We are into training. So we just manage high-level consultancy operation, which no student can pertain in at this level. So hopefully before the ending of this year, we'll actually bring out, our trainings are, some of our trainings are what we don't mention in the public. They are for Secret Service, for top government, and this is so students cannot partake in that. Now, when it comes to cybersecurity operation, even companies like Cyber South Africa, Cyber Virgin, there is a regulation in the industry. It's because it's people's assets, their digital assets. Before they allow anybody to touch it, industry requires they do a kind of certification for them. We call it ISO 27001. Now, if any company has to do that for you, that means you are not going anywhere in the next 2 years. That means they spend their money to certify you. So that in case anything happens, they will ask, the staff you are using to monitor our assets, what level of certification or process do you have for them? Can you show us the certification you have done? That is, if there is a problem and an external investigator is coming to do a breach check, they want to be sure that the people who handled their assets are all certified. That is why it's very hard to actually push a student to operation in cybersecurity. However, when they are graduated, when they are fully graduated and out of school, the company knows that this guy is not going. If I'm investing in him to get the certification, he already has his knowledge. I will reap my money over 1 year or 2 years because he's going to stay. So that is it. The most MSSP, their clients are financial institutions because they pay big money. We have digital payments. So, and the financial institution is an highly regulated industry. They have different frameworks. Is it the PCI, NIST? So they have different frameworks regulating their operation. So they didn't just take anybody into operation. So even as at IT, if they actually pick anybody, they'll just turn them to errand boy. So the best they would have done is come to us. Now, instead of actually we sending them to operation, once they finish, they do professional practice. So externally, they do penetration testing, professional practice on their own. They get used to the industry. Like as we advise people, the right certification over the next 1 year. These are the certification recommended, added to the one they wrote with us. So you see that they are fully prepared for the industry.
Yeah.
So so the next 1 year, when they're in their final year, we recommend free certifications for them to write, preparing them for the industry. So the kind of jobs we do are high-level consultancy in collaboration with our HQ. Students can't touch it. It will take an higher consultant. So that is why we tell them, we refer them to this. Even the banks, we have banks we already been talking to. They're just waiting for them to finish NYC. They have that law from CBN. They don't employ anybody that has not actually completed NYC. So those are the little hiccups. If not, about 20 of them will be working by now. We've already made those arrangements. So the banks can't employ, and the bank is the fastest place they could grow because they have a lot of cybersecurity attack. It's a fast-paced industry. Under 1 or 2 years, they will have a lot of experience.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, madam.
Really
Thanks for actually coming around. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir. I hope I'll get some of the records. Some of the
I can share this with you if you want. I'll share this record with you.
Please, I want it.
Okay, all right. I'll share it with you. You'll get it in the next 1 hour. Thank you very much.
Okay. You're welcome, sir. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.